You think you're awake. You think you're living your life, making your choices, seeing reality as it is. But Ibn Arabi would tell you something that might shake you to your core. You're dreaming right now. This moment. Everything you think is real is actually a veil. And the biggest tragedy isn't that you're trapped in an illusion, it's that you don't even know you are. For Ibn Arabi, the world we see isn't the world that actually exists. It's a projection, a shadow, a reflection of something far more real that most people never glimpse. He wrote, "The cosmos is imagination within imagination, while true reality is God alone." This isn't poetic metaphor. This was his literal understanding of existence. And if he's right, everything changes. The first and deepest illusion is this. You think you're separate. Separate from others, separate from nature, separate from God. You look in the mirror and see you. You look at another person and see them. You experience your thoughts, your body, your life as distinctly yours, isolated, contained. But Ibn Arabi said, this separation is the fundamental illusion. You are not a separate wave in the ocean. You are the ocean temporarily experiencing itself as a wave. Think about it. Where do you actually begin and end? Your skin. But your skin is constantly shedding and regenerating. Your thoughts? But thoughts come from language, culture, conditioning, all external, your memories. But memories are reconstructions, stories you tell yourself, constantly changing. The more you look for a fixed, separate you, the more it dissolves. What you find instead is a process, a flow, a temporary formation of consciousness that you call me. Modern physics supports this. Quantum mechanics shows that particles aren't separate objects, but interconnected fields of energy. What appears solid and distinct at the macro level is actually fluid and entangled at the fundamental level. Ibn Arabi knew this 800 years ago. He said, "You think you're looking at the world, but you're actually looking at yourself reflected back in infinite forms. You believe you came from a past, you're living in a present, and you're moving toward a future. Your whole life is organized around this belief." But Ibn Arabi taught, time is a construct of limited consciousness. For God, all moments exist simultaneously. Past, present, and future are one eternal now. This isn't mystical poetry. Modern physics, particularly Einstein's relativity, confirms that time is relative, not absolute. What you experience as now is different from what someone moving at a different speed experiences. Time bends, stretches, and is fundamentally illusory at the deepest level of reality. Ibn Arabi went further. He said that because God sees all time at once, everything that will happen has already happened. You're not creating your future. You're discovering what already exists. This doesn't mean you have no choice. It means your choices exist in a dimension beyond linear time. You're not trapped in a predetermined script. You're exploring a reality that already contains all possibilities. But here's the illusion. You think you're moving through time. Ibn Arabi said it's the opposite. Time is moving through you. You are the constant, the eternal witness. Time is the dream passing before you. You say, my life, my body, my thoughts, my possessions. You build your identity around what you own, what you've achieved, what you control. But Ibn Arabi asked, do you own anything, or are you just temporarily using it? Your body? It existed before you were conscious of it, and will return to earth after you die. Your thoughts? They arise on their own. Try not thinking for 1 minute, you'll see thoughts appear without your permission. Your possessions? They're temporary arrangements of atoms that will outlast you or decay before you do. He wrote, "You possess nothing, not even yourself. Everything is a loan from God, and one day, the loan will be called back." This sounds depressing, but Ibn Arabi meant it as liberation. If you own nothing, you have nothing to lose. If nothing is truly yours, nothing can be taken from you. The fear of loss only exists because of the illusion of ownership. This might be the hardest illusion to shatter. You think you're in control. You plan your day. You make decisions. You believe your choices shape your reality. And on the surface level, they do. But Ibn Arabi taught, every choice you think you make is God's will flowing through you. You are not the author of your actions. You are the instrument through which divine will expresses itself. This doesn't mean you're a puppet. It means the you that thinks it's choosing is itself part of the divine unfolding. Your will and God's will aren't separate forces in conflict. They're the same will seen from different perspectives. Modern neuroscience has stumbled onto something similar. Studies show that your brain makes decisions milliseconds before you're consciously aware of making them. What you experience as free will is actually your consciousness becoming aware of a choice that's already been made at a deeper level. Ibn Arabi said, "The illusion of control creates suffering because you believe you should be able to control outcomes, and when you can't, you feel like you failed, but you were never in control. You were only ever participating in a reality far larger than your understanding. Look around you. The chair you're sitting on, the walls around you, they appear solid, stable, permanent. But Ibn Arabi taught, nothing in this world is solid. Everything is constantly being created and destroyed at every moment. What you call reality is actually a continuous act of divine manifestation. This is exactly what quantum physics discovered. At the subatomic level, particles blink in and out of existence. Matter is mostly empty space. What appears solid is actually vibrating energy fields temporarily organized in patterns. Ibn Arabi called this Tajdid al-Khalq, the renewal of creation at every instant. He said, God is not just the creator who made the world once God is creating the world right now, in this moment, and in every moment. You are being created anew with each breath. If this is true, then the past doesn't exist. It's a memory. The future doesn't exist. It's imagination. Only this moment is real. And in this moment, you are being dreamed into existence by consciousness itself. If reality is an illusion, why don't we see through it? Ibn Arabi gave several reasons. The known, even if it's false, feels safer than the unknown. Breaking free from illusion requires letting go of everything you think you know. Most people aren't willing to do that. Your ego, your sense of being a separate self, only exists because of the illusion. If the illusion dissolves, the ego dissolves with it. So the ego fights viciously to maintain the illusion, creating stories, dramas, and identities to keep you believing you're separate and in control. Every institution, every social structure, every cultural narrative is built on the illusion of separation, time, ownership, and control. To see through the illusion is to step outside the collective dream, and that makes you an outsider. Ibn Arabi knew this. He was called a heretic in his lifetime, not because he was wrong, but because he was threatening the illusion that society needed to function. So how do you wake up from the illusion? Ibn Arabi offered specific practices. Practice 1. Question everything. Practice 2. Observe your thoughts. Practice 3. See God in everything. Practice 4. Let go of control. Practice 5. Live in the eternal now. Ibn Arabi described what happens when someone sees through the illusion. First, there's disorientation. Everything you thought was solid becomes fluid. Your identity loosens. Your plans seem absurd. You might feel untethered, lost. Then, there's grief, because you realize how much time you wasted believing in illusions. How many years you spent chasing things that were never real. But then, something shifts. The grief transforms into freedom. Because if nothing is real in the way you thought, then nothing can truly harm you. If you're not a separate self, you can't really die. If you don't own anything, you have nothing to lose. Ibn Arabi called this state fana, annihilation of the false self. And after fana comes baqa, subsistence in truth. He wrote, "When the illusion dies, you don't disappear. You finally appear. The real you, the eternal, unchanging awareness that was always here, just hidden beneath layers of false identity." So what is real if everything we perceive is illusion? Ibn Arabi's answer: only God is real. Everything else is God's imagination, God's dream, God's self-expression. You are not separate from God. You are God experiencing limitation, God playing hide and seek with itself, God forgetting and remembering. The purpose of life isn't to achieve, acquire, or accomplish. The purpose is to wake up, to remember what you always were, to see through the dream and recognize the dreamer. You have a choice right now. You can close this video and return to the illusion. Go back to believing you're separate, that time is real, that you're in control. Most people do, the illusion is comfortable. Or you can take what Ibn Arabi is offering, the red pill, the uncomfortable truth, the invitation to wake up. He warned, once you begin to see through the illusion, you can't unsee it. Your life will never be the same. You won't fit in anymore. People will think you're strange, but you'll be free in a way most people never experience. The illusion is everywhere, but so is the truth. It's hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to finally stop sleeping and open your eyes. The only question is, are you ready to wake up?